Okay, so if you are listening to this podcast right now and you're in your car and you're driving down the road and you look down at the dashboard and the check engine light is on, you need to be listening very closely. No, we're not going to fix your car, but we could be helping to fix the check engine light on your retirement, whether you're retired now, whether you're about to retire, whether you're still in that ramping up stage. You need to be listening right now, especially if you're looking at your dashboard and you see the check engine light. My name is Jeff Miles, here with financial advisor Jimmy Lynn. This is the Right Path to Retirement podcast. Jimmy, the check engine light. You ever experienced that before in the car?
Jeff, I almost feel like you were in my car looking at my engine light. No, absolutely. I think I'm like everybody else. That happens to me all the time. A funny thing is, one issue I'm dealing with right now, it's not the check engine light, but it's the same type of warning. You know, when you unlock and lock your doors. Well, when I'm unlocking the door now, there's an actuator that's in the door that does the unlocking, and it buzzes. So the funny thing about that is when I drop my kids off at school, I'm one of those guys that when I unlock a door, I hit it like 3 or 4 times. So it's just buzzing and buzzing and buzzing. But the best thing about it is my kids' face. They are so embarrassed because they have all their classmates walking by. They're getting dropped off, and there's these 3 or 4 loud buzzes. And I got to admit, I really enjoy it. That may be one of the reasons why I haven't fixed it yet. But that's the warning sign. And guess what? Now that door will not unlock. It's got to be manual.
You know, it's funny because there was a survey by Pep Boys, and it was talking about like Americans who ignore stuff like what you're talking about right now, the actuator on your door locks or that check engine light or whatever it may be, the low oil light for some people. And you got to take care of your car. The weird part is it says that some people will leave that on for like 4 months before they actually take their car in to get it diagnosed. I think part of it is I'm scared of what they're going to tell me when I take it in. I think another part is some people just get used to it being there that they almost forget that it's even on.
Well, I think one of the things is also like I do enjoy the embarrassment my kids have with the buzzing, but it's also just the fact that life gets in the way, right? I mean, sometimes you don't have the time to bring it to the dealership, have them evaluate it for a few hours, get it repaired, and maybe you got to get a rental car. So sometimes life just gets in the way.
I'll get to it tomorrow syndrome.
Right, absolutely. And this, with my situation, it's just the door unlocking. But if that check engine light causes you to then be on the side of the road for hours and hours because you ignored it, well, that can be a much bigger problem. And so that's why, although it could be an inconvenience, I mean, it's really important to get that stuff checked out.
So when it comes to retirement plans, I'm sure people probably almost treat it the same way. Whereas, when the check engine light comes on, that's when you should really go and get your car looked at. I would say that people's retirement plans, listen, I'm not saying that the check engine light's coming on anytime soon, but I would say there's never a bad time to go in and have that retirement plan looked at to make sure that you're on the right path. And Jimmy, you being a financial advisor, you're the one that can actually see what the indicators are on where things are headed. And I'm sure that much like if somebody waits for 6 months to take their car in, the problem got that much worse. Had they just taken it in when the check engine light first came on, you might have been able to get them into a better situation. Is that kind of how it works as far as the retirement plan and how people are looking at what their allocations are right now?
It is, Jeff. And actually, I have some bad news for you. There is no check engine light for retirees, right? Like when you get that Schwab or Fidelity or your 401k statement, it doesn't have a yellow warning light that says you're in trouble. The reason being that retirement planning is much more than just your investments, right? There's a lot of different components into play. And the only way to truly figure out if you have a warning in your retirement plan is really to see an advisor. Right? And the reason being is that a financial planner or an advisor, they have the tools, or we have the tools in place to do a deep analysis, right? It's almost like going to see a doctor, right? You got to go in, tell them the issues, kind of give them a history of your health. before you can get prescribed anything. And it's no different with or the health of your retirement plan. We have clients coming in all the time, and they'll sit down with us, and we really just have to ask questions as if we're a physician wanting to understand your financial health. And some of those things could be doing a portfolio analysis of your accounts. It could be some tax analysis. But honestly, it really starts with what we call Monte Carlo analysis. So what we typically do, and technology is phenomenal right now, and it really enables us to do deep, really incredible analysis where we will take in factors like, how much do you have saved? What type of rate of return do you anticipate having? What are your different income streams? And once we take all of this information, as well as like how much you want to actually spend in retirement, some people live frugal, they want to spend $4,000 a month. Some people, they worked hard and they want to live it up and they want to spend $15,000 a month. So whatever those goals are, we take all of that information. And then what we do is a Monte Carlo analysis basically runs 1,000 different simulations where it'll take all the different market conditions that have occurred over the past 150 years and determine in all of these simulations, what percentage of the time is your plan successful and what percentage of the time are you going to either run out of money or run short of the amount you need to live the lifestyle you need. And that is the best way to give us that warning sign, because if you have a 50% success rate, that's kind of a warning sign where you need to address it. Now, it doesn't mean that your car is going to be totaled, right? It just means that there may be some tweaking that we need to do. And that's the kind of thing that we do as far as, that's the only way someone can truly get a warning sign or kind of a health indication of their retirement plan.
It's interesting when it comes to cars, and when you take it into to the dealership or to a mechanic or a repair shop, whatnot. A lot of people may not know this, but there is a place where they plug in. It's called the OBD port, right? And they plug a machine, they plug a diagnostic machine into your car through this OBD port. And it sounds to me from what you just described that if I was to come in for a portfolio analysis, it's almost like you're going to take my portfolio, plug it into that OBD port of your retirement Monte Carlo effect that's going on there to kind of give me the scenarios that are going to hopefully give me a great future looking forward. The same way as if you go into the place that repairs your car, they can kind of give you an idea of what could be happening with your engine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's exactly what it is. We're plugging in the information that you're providing us, and we're spitting out an output. And that output will give us an idea of, how long your car will last, just like it'll tell us how long your retirement could last, right? And so what we're trying to do is, based on the information that gets spit out, we're going to be able to identify, we're going to then be able to prescribe something, right? Just like if you go to a mechanic or you go to a physician, right? Either way, you're going to get some type of prescription. And it could be, hey, look, we did an analysis of your portfolio and you may be too aggressive, or you may not be aggressive enough to meet the income needs that you have. Or it could be a tax issue. It could be that the way your accounts are allocated, you are going to be paying a ton of taxes in your later years. So there may be a plan in which you can kind of minimize some of that or mitigate that tax risk. Or it could be an income issue, right? Maybe we need to figure out a way to take some of these dollars that we save and create an income stream so that this income stream, along with possibly a pension and your Social Security, will be enough to help you sustain your lifestyle and do the things that you want in retirement. But it all comes down to that analysis and then prescribing a solution.
I would say that for many people, especially when you start talking about your financial situation, whatever it may be, whether you're wealthy, whether you're, trying to get to that place. And when you think about retirement, it's a pretty emotional thing when you start to think about it. And I'm sure that a lot of people feel that initial meeting is what kind of creates a little bit of the anxiety. The same way that you're kind of afraid to take your car in because you're afraid of what the repairs might cost, or you're afraid of what they're going to tell you is wrong with your car. Some people may feel like, oh, well, if I'm coming in, they're going to tell me I'm doing it all wrong, or they're going to tell me I don't have enough money right now. But yet that's actually the very reason why you need to find that financial advisor, someone Jimmy like yourself, that can kind of give them the right path, as you would say, to getting to where you want to go, and so that there is no anxiety for what you think it might be. You want kind of someone to put the eyes on it that can tell you a more clear plan.
You're absolutely right. And it's funny that you say that, is that we have people from all walks of life that come in, and their attitudes actually may not be what you expect. So we have people that, they've worked hard. They may have been executives at the companies that they had their career with. They're coming in with, 7 figures in their retirement accounts, high Social Security, a high pension, and they may even have a paid off home. But they're coming and they're like, I just don't know if I'm going to be okay, right? And you look at it on a paper and say, how could you not be okay? But it's just that they don't know what they don't know. They want to know, well, what if the market crashes? How am I going to be okay? And am I going to have enough? Are taxes going to eat up everything I have? So they come in with so much success on paper, but they don't recognize it because they don't have that validation, and maybe they just haven't gone through that analysis for somebody to run the numbers and say, no, you know what? You're going to have a phenomenal retirement. And on the flip side, we have people that, they got a late start to saving for retirement, so that they have a few $100,000, and they no pension, but they have a little bit of Social Security, and they're coming in, they're like, I want to retire right now. And sometimes we have to break the news to them that you might have to make some tweaks. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but we might have to make some tweaks. But they're very confident that they can retire. And so it's funny how it doesn't matter what spectrum you come from. You can have a little and think that you're ready to retire, or you can have a ton and think that you're not. I think either way, it just helps you sleep better at night, and it helps you feel more comfortable moving forward. If you just have somebody put the numbers into a system and spit out some numbers that will say either yes, you're going to be okay, or no, your plan's not going to work exactly as you have planned, but if you make these couple tweaks, you'll probably be fine.
It's funny. The way you just described that, I kind of like have this picture in my head is for the person that, emotionally, maybe you have a little bit of apprehension to come in and talk to a financial advisor because maybe you think that you don't have enough. Maybe you think you have enough, but maybe you don't. It's almost kind of like not looking at your bank account for about 6 months and then just going and putting your card in the ATM and asking for money, hoping that it's in there. And that's not necessarily the way you want to operate your bank account, right?
That's not. And whatever your situation is, you want to be honest with yourself, right? That's the bottom line, is that, and we have people that don't check their investments accounts because they feel like, oh no, I've been doing bad and I just don't want to open that up. And that's not going to solve the problem. Just like ignoring that check engine light's not going to solve the problem, right? So it's important to just, one of the most important phases of your life is retirement, because that's oftentimes when you get to have fun. Right. So if you have the ability to have somebody look at your situation and just bless it, I would not shy away from that. I know that we all live busy lives. But again, it's just like that check engine light. If you ignore it long enough, you may find yourself on the side of the road spending more time trying to figure out how to get a tow truck there. Right. Be proactive about it. Whatever your situation, make sure that you have someone, you go through the process to have someone analyze your situation and making sure that your retirement is going to be okay. And if it's not going to be okay, you want to know that now. You don't want to know that when you're retired, right? If you know that now, you can make changes that will pay dividends in the future.
So how long does that first initial portfolio analysis last? I mean, how much does it cost for somebody to come in and just say, hey, Jimmy, can you look at this and just kind of tell me where I am right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think sometimes that's the biggest barrier, is people are concerned about things like time and cost. And we try to make it as simple as possible for the locals here in Las Vegas. We do complimentary consultations where you'll come into our office for an hour. We have offices in Henderson as well as in Summerlin, so we're pretty convenient to anyone in the Valley. They come into our office and we'll just have a casual conversation. It is not intrusive. They can tell me as much as they feel comfortable. I would say 99% of the time we get really deep into their lives and kind of go through a history of how they've gotten to this point and what their goals are in the future. And that's just through developing a comfort level with each other. But we will really analyze their situation. What are their goals? What are they working with? What kind of assets do they have? How much do they want to spend in retirement? So we go through, there are a level of detail that we need to get to in order to provide them with a true analysis. And then what we'll do is we'll take their statements. We do Morningstar reports that are just detailed third-party reports. I'll give them an analysis of where they sit, and we'll do a follow-up meeting where we just give them our analysis. We'll sit down with them, give them analysis of where they sit today and what recommendations that we would suggest to them. And everything that I just described, there is no cost to them.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
if they decide they want our help with any portion of that, we are definitely happy to do that. That's what we're here for. But there's no cost to come in and talk to us and get that portfolio analysis.
Jimmy, I know you work in Vegas, right? And people come to Vegas all the time. They're on vacation. They come out for a weekend, whatever. I have to think, and this is kind of like off topic, yet at the same time, I'm just curious of how it works in Vegas. Like, I'm sure there's people that kind of end up in Vegas and they never go home because, I don't know, maybe something went really well while they were there for a weekend or a week or whatever it may be. And so all of a sudden they got this money, let's just say, and they're kind of like, well, what do I do with it now? Maybe here's the weird thing. If you're somebody that is not used to having $1 million and somebody just gives you $1 million, you don't know what to do with it.
Oh, no, that's absolutely right. I mean, didn't they say that most lottery winners, when they hit the lottery,
they're broke in like 2 years, right?
In a few years. And it's just because, financial literacy in general is not really taught in this country. I think that there's a big push for us to start making that. And that's no fault of the individuals. I always say that when people come in and they don't understand a concept, I'm really empathetic to them. Because it's just not something that until very recently really wasn't discussed. And so, you come in, you have that visitor that comes into a large sum of money, decides to stay in town and then wants to know what they could do. I mean, there are a wide range of things that you can do with those assets, but there's a lot of ways to blow it. And so you want to make sure that, you have some solid advice on how to make sure some of that lasts and how you can achieve some of the goals that you have.
And who better to see than somebody that is in Vegas and knows exactly, the implications of what coming into large sums of money.
I'll tell you this, Jeff, people visiting Vegas, it used to be that you got a lot of free stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's the old Vegas. So one of the things that you can still do for free is get a complimentary consultation. So I'll throw that out as well.
I love it. There you go. Get a complimentary consultation before you hit the roulette table or whatever it is that you like to do while you're in Vegas. Hey, listen, thanks so much for listening to another episode of the Right Path to Retirement podcast. Everything that Jimmy Lynn, a financial advisor right here in Vegas, has been talking about is something that you can go and see him about. Like he said, complimentary. Just go to the website at rightpathtoretirement.com. Again, that's rightpathtoretirement.com. Jimmy's probably not going to tell you to take all that money and throw it back into the casinos. I'm just guessing, Jimmy. That's
that's pretty accurate.
But the good news is he is going to give you some great advice on where you could be putting that money so that it could be working for you. As we said in a previous podcast, get those dollars to do their job for you for the future. Hey, listen, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so right now at the Right Path to Retirement podcast. Make sure you give us a like. That way you'll get all of the notifications that we've got new content coming your way about your retirement, your future, and how to make it so much more stress-free. Thank you so much for listening today. Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Right Path Wealth Management. Right Path Wealth Management is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Right Path Wealth Management are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Right Path Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained by sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Right Path Wealth Management.